The Void, Series 1, Episode 5. O Come, O Ye Faithful. Written by Richard Marcus Powell. Chapter 6. The HDR Hemming jumped into soon, acting as a scout, but found no trace of a waiting fleet. It was a common practice in these situations. If you don't know what lay on the other side of the gate, it made sense to send through a single ship ahead of the whole fleet. It gave them enough time to make a decision. It could be harsh on the ship that jumped, but preferable to losing a fleet. The rest of the fleet jumped through upon update from the Hemming. "Whatever happened, it appears to be over now," Schaefer noted. "Any trace of the battle?" "I'm picking up traces of debris on the Topeka gate. At least one decaying power core there," Denham responded. "Keep scanning, Doctor. I don't want the Cadir surprising us," Schaefer instructed. "Fleet, slide to Topeka gate." With all 50 ships in the task force now in a single group, it took a little while to initiate the slide for all the ships, as extra calculations had to be made to ensure there were no collisions or intersection of space-time bubbles. Eventually, all the ships arrived on the outbound gate. It was clear a skirmish had occurred. There was debris littering the vicinity, fragments of hull drifting aimlessly, the hulks of several ships venting gas. "How many ships can you detect, Doctor?" "3 at least, Captain." "Can you identify their origin?" "They all appear to be Cadir, one equivalent to a cruiser and 2 frigate equivalents." "Still no idea who it is they might be chasing?" "Not necessarily, Captain," Hannah interrupted. "One of the ship idents is still online, and it's not showing as Cadir Holy Empire." "It's not? What is it then?" "It's still Cadir, but it has a different designation. It's not something recognized by the Babel implants, but it suggests the nearest analog is the word state." This information opened up a whole wealth of new possibilities. Voight looked towards the captain. A curious expression caught on her face. "Are the Cadir fighting each other?" she wondered. This would be a new development. The Cadir had always presented a unified front to humanity, united in their fanatical hatred of lower forms of life. There was little known about their culture beyond their dogma, and it had always been assumed that this was all there was, that their entire being and culture was built around their belief system. What had changed to have them fighting each other? "This makes sense," Voight reasoned. "The travel path is erratic because 2 fleets are playing cat and mouse, which is why there are frequent changes in direction. They're in close proximity because they're hunting or evading each other, and no other types of ship have been detected because both fleets are composed of Cadir ships. This also explains why no colonies have been attacked." "I'll buy that," Schaefer nodded, "but it doesn't answer the why." "We still have to confirm this, but it does fit." "Can we confirm that the fleets passed through this gate?" "There is recent activity, 2 separate jumps minutes apart." "Let's send a battle group ahead of us. HDR Avenger will take control of the battle group. Assign 2 battle cruisers, 5 cruisers, 5 frigates, and 5 destroyers," Schaefer commanded. "If you run into them, you'll have more survivability and buy us time to catch up with you. Captain Rashi, if you find the Cadir, try and get an idea of what is going on." Now they were closer to their quarry. Schaefer felt a more densely packed spearhead would make sense. "I want 5 frigates and 5 destroyers radiating out as before, covering our flanks and rear," Schaefer added. "But keep within 2 jumps. If you find anything, shadow where possible, evade if attacked." "Implementing," Hannah confirmed, organizing and assigning positions to the fleet. There was always the possibility that the 2 fleets had headed in 2 separate directions, though the gate logs would suggest otherwise. Either way, Schaefer would rather have advance warning. "Captain, a cursory analysis of the damage sustained by the wrecks is indeed consistent with the hypothesis that the Cadir are fighting amongst themselves," Denham analyzed. "What are we getting involved with here?" Schaefer asked rhetorically. "Is this some kind of civil war?" In a way, if this was some form of internal conflict, it did lessen the threat to Republic colonies, as they would be focused on each other. However, this was an assumption, and assumptions were never to be trusted. As long as the Cadir were in the territory and equipped for war, there was a threat. "They've never given us any indication that there was a schism in their society," Voight stated. "As far as we've been aware, It's always been a theocracy, and an extreme one at that. They would never deign to communicate with us, and there's been no history of any internal conflict, so we have no way of knowing. This could be a new development in their society, or something that has always existed that we simply haven't been aware of. There's another wrinkle to this as well, sir. What's that, Commander? If we confront both fleets simultaneously, should they be in the same system when we catch up with them, what would they prioritize, attacking each other or us? If there's one maxim that you should take to heart, Commander, it's hope for the best but prepare for the worst, Schaefer opined. Assume that they will combine forces against us. It may prove more effective to target one faction ahead of the other. It may well encourage the other faction to take advantage, Voight postulated. If we target the larger force and defeat them, then we are only left with the lesser threat. Shrewd thinking, Commander, Schaefer commended. That would work either way. Even if they remain united, it's effective prioritization of targets. We'll incorporate that into our response. This made good sense to Schaefer. Exploit an enemy's weakness and focus on the biggest threat. Given that they were still not sure of the enemy's fleet composition, this was a wise consideration. Any advantage might prove critical in battle. Doctor, see if you can determine what this new Cadir faction is all about. Any intelligence you dig up could prove to be crucial, Schaefer ordered. Hannah, can you run some projections based on the commander's suggestions? Difficult to do without detailed enemy fleet composition. I appreciate that and will take it into account, Schaefer nodded. But we'll start with wild speculation and refine it from there as we get more detailed information. I'll do what I can, sir. Now, let's see if we can catch up with the Cadir.